And DeFi gets you 8% to 15% on the US dollar. So I can almost guarantee you that when you open the floodgates for people to get that type of yield on the US dollar in a compliant, regulated way.
Structure. And over time, it'll become more prevalent as banks adopt stablecoin wallets, most likely through their core providers like Fiserv, Jack Henry, and FIS, who will enable it so that you could have interoperability between crypto companies, fintech companies, and core financial.
Second, there's chatter that this bill is going to finally get passed. You're going to see M&A skyrocket. I think you're going to see traditional players on Wall Street, exchanges as one example, banks as another example, among others, buy their way into the space very, very quickly.
If you really think about, and I built one of those services, if you really think about what you're doing when you're posting that, it's not just reaching your audience. You're actually doing work for that company for free. Every time you hit the heart, every time you like a post, every time you retweet something, that's a signal to an algorithm, which then takes that and a bunch of other variables and uses that as a way to push into someone else's feed. And all of these algorithms predominantly are only focused on increasing the number of impressions. And the reason why is because that increases the number of advertising revenue for them. It has nothing to do with you. And if you just, sorry, if you just observe a little bit and you watch someone on their phone, and there's a bunch of you on the phone in the downtime and you have Instagram open, you have Twitter open, X, Threads, Blue Sky, maybe not Blue Sky, but whatever it is. You actually just watch them and they're scrolling, tap, tap, scrolling, tap, tap, scrolling, tap, tap. That company has successfully made you an employee without paying you a thing. And we need, if we value what we believe is the value of these services, which is to broadcast to the world and to broadcast our information, our lessons, our learnings, our stories to someone that's going to care about it, we need to own that protocol layer. That protocol layer needs to be permissionless. I should not have to ask Google on whether to build a feature or not. I should not be reliant upon Google's algorithm to tell me what I should pay attention to, because they're programming you. And they can change that algorithm at any point and program you in a different way. And they have in the past, and they will continue to do so. So do you want to live in that world?
But John Ungerlin reposted this and it's talking about how algorithms are programming people.
I'm pretty sure that's Jack Dorsey.
It is, huh? I just don't want to seem ignorant.
I'm pretty sure that's him. I don't follow him, but I'm pretty sure that's him, though, for sure.
So, yeah, somebody in the comment, I mean, excuse my ignorance. Like, I know the name Jack Dorsey. I just don't know the face behind it. Like, I don't be, like, all up in his business like that. So, I guess I never put a face to the name. But, yeah, bro, like, I think that's crazy that this information is out there for the general public to see, and it just straight up goes over people's head.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about this just a few weeks ago about algorithms, and yeah, you definitely getting programmed and continuously, being brainwashed by the algorithm. The algorithm knows exactly what you want, what you like. And if you fill it with a bunch of garbage, man, you're going to be in a hypnosis on it every single day. Every time you scroll, you're going to be in that hypnosis, you know what I mean? Mindset and shit, just getting programmed by the algorithm. So, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, King Asher, for verifying it is Jack Dorsey, from the former owner of Twitter. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's continue to listen to what John Ungerlin posted on his LinkedIn profile.
Do you want to continue to give it your attention? Do you want to continue to work for free? Or do you want to own something where you can build on top of it and you can control the media, you can control your story, you can control your narrative, along with all the other people that are interested in unleashing themselves from this dynamic that we've created and that we've been trapped into. So I can't think of anything more exciting than the fact that we have money that's completely permissionless exchange of value. And we have now social media and generally media, which is completely permissionless, which is another exchange of value. And there's another big thing coming. It's on the horizon. We're hearing a lot about it right now, which is artificial intelligence. And you're seeing that it's not just the money that was centralized. It's not just the media that has been centralized, but now intelligence is centralized. And intelligence isn't your IQ score. Intelligence is actually all of the collective intelligence of the people around you, all the potential you have for learning and actually experimenting and sharing that knowledge. Do you want that intelligence to be locked up in 5 companies that are dictated by 5 CEOs that are not voted in, but that can determine, again, how you perceive intelligence, how you perceive the world, and actually what you do because you read those particular things? So decentralizing and making permissionless AI models, LLMs, agent systems, is something that we need to focus on. Everything that we're doing with Bitcoin, everything that we're doing with social media has to be applied to this new model, which is intelligence. And if it's not, then again, you are the product. You are doing free work for these models, and you will be displaced. Your contribution will become irrelevant. And that scares me the most. Yet, we have proven over the past 6
That's some pretty crazy to say, bro.
Your eyebrows went up. Mine too, but because he said that word, displaced.
And irrelevant, bro. It's a pretty powerful word to use it in that type of talk track, to be real. That's wild.
Again, you know, this ideology behind universal basic income and you will own nothing and be happy. Like, bro, it's coming. I try to curb my tongue because we're on a YouTube, but man, oh man, a lot of people over the next 5 years, 2030 agenda, are in for a very rude awakening if they don't have skills, digital skills that can make them money.
That's real. That's mad real. Man.
You know, wow. I don't even. There's like 2 minutes left. I don't even know if you want to listen to the rest of this.
Yeah, let him finish. I mean, might as well. This guy's. Is he wearing sandals too? By the way,
Bro, he's cooking. He's multi fucking million billionaire, bro. Dude's wearing sandals on stage. You know he's a G.
out.
Yeah. He don't care. All right.
15 years with Bitcoin, that another model exists. The whole world values, some of the biggest companies in the world, Wall Street, BlackRock, actually values. And they didn't choose to get in immediately. They got in because they had to, because the people kept developing it. And this thing is not going away. And it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And we have the potential, everyone in this room, if you make the decision, I'm not going to contribute purely to corporate media or corporate intelligence or corporate money anymore. I'm going to do the hard thing, and it's extremely challenging right now because it's not accessible, it's not usable, it's confusing as hell. But I'm gonna do the work, I'm gonna learn it, I'm gonna teach it, and I'm gonna sacrifice my time and energy to do something that's hard at the moment, because if I do so, it compounds and more people can use it, and it becomes more the standard. So it's really important that we make that decision and that we potentially remove these apps from our lives, or we at least bias towards other solutions that the people actually own, that no one company, no one government can corrupt or change the direction of, and that we can, just because we built something that people value and people go that direction, and another someone builds something of different value and people can find it there. So that's the important thing about all these technologies. Sorry, my answer was so long, but I had to get all that out. It's exciting. Like, it just keeps getting better.
Yo, he's talking about the free world, bro.
Bro, my mind is literally kind of going wild right now with thoughts. Like, when he said to stop using these apps, and like, keep in mind, we've been talking about the internet possibly just getting turned off, right? It kind of would be in humanity's best interest right now. Like, if like some superhero is like, I'm about to knock out all the social media, reset this whole bitch, because most people that are on social media are getting brainwashed to hell and back with garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
it would be a bigger, like, we would look at it like, damn, like, we run our businesses on this shit. Fuck, we got to start from scratch. But like, it's for the greater good. And like, man, we know what we could talk about the internet all day and these algorithms and the garbage that you can get brainwashed with. I mean, just there's so many categories. We see it in crypto, we see it in sports, we see it in like every category. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah, it's definitely, I gotta be careful, bro, because of what I told you this morning. There's so much though that I could show to the general public that will blow the lid off of most influencers' reputations because of just how the algorithm is. And nobody shows how the algorithm tracks things behind the scenes on your statistics and your analytics. But dude, I've seen some really crazy things on how the algorithm favors hype, hopium, lies, distractions, entertainment. And crypto is one of the biggest places in cancerous, infected. Oh, I'm not even gonna go down it, bro.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's really truly so yeah. It's such a rabbit hole, man. But the best thing that you could do is focus on growth, focus on self development, build sets of skills in this new digital era that generates you income from the comfort of your home with a Wi-Fi connection and a internet or an electronic device like a mobile phone or a freaking computer. Because a lot of the physical work, if you don't have digital skills, a lot of that's going to be replaced over the next 5 to 10 years. And so many people are like, 5 to 10 years, that's probably not even going to happen. Well, watch, it's going to happen a lot faster than most people think.
Yeah. That's why I'm actually happy. I'm you know, because I mean, we do well right now. You know what I mean? DeFi, like so many different businesses, but you know, applying myself right now when I don't have to, but just really looking at my just overall journey, it makes sense to start learning how to trade. And I'm glad I'm doing it, man. I'm glad I'm on this journey right now to get up there with the best of the best traders like yourself and everybody else in the CYPRX community that's super dope at trading, you know. But yeah, it's if something did hit the fan, developing these skills, man, it's gonna be like, damn, I'm glad I did that. You know what I mean? If something was
No,
to hit the fan.
110%, bro. And like also, you're the type of person that internally, a lot of people don't do this, but chase more life. They feel like they've reached the pinnacle of success and then they get lazy and they don't grow anymore after that. They think they know it all. They get egotistical. They got all this money or whatever it is. They achieved that level of success. For some people, that's cool. That is fine. But you're not that type of person. You strive for more and more and more because you know that there's always growth. There's always room to grow. There's always something to learn, something to adapt to. And that's a good characteristic trait, bro.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. Yeah. It's needed, you know what I mean, to survive. I feel like that's part of that whole survival of the fittest too mindset. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot of things are going to change, man. You know, things that used to work in the old system, the old world, hate to break it to you, but they're not going to work in this new world, you
No,
know?
it's not. It's not at all.
You they might be similar, right? They might feel like the same, but they're going to be completely different, faster paced, longer hours, you know, transparency, there's all kinds of things that are just coming that people really need to wake up to and adjust to, or else again, just like this gentleman said, and many other people, bro, that we've shown that have very systemically important credentials, we're in this process of getting people getting left behind, banks getting left behind, organizations getting left behind. And it won't feel like you're getting left behind because you're just surviving. You're just doing your day-to-day thing, right? You're distracted. But you look back in 10 years,
Yeah.
you're going to be like, damn,
A
if
lot
you
of shit
didn't,
disappeared and went extinct.
man, you know, it's going to
Yeah.
be pretty crazy because, you know, time will tell all. Time will tell all. All these predictions and all these things that people talk about now and in the moment, and everybody's like, that's never going to happen. That's unrealistic. Da, da, da. No, a lot of things are going to be proven right, guys and gals, in the next 5 to 10 years. I know that seems like such a stretch, but it's really not. When you think about it as an entrepreneur and as a lifelong journey, crypto is a lifelong journey. When you think of it that way, what does this market look like when it has really broken out of its infancy stage? You know, if you look at crypto in terms of like like human years, it's still a teenager, collectively speaking. It's not even a mature. It's not even a mature adult yet.
That's real, bro.
It's crypto ain't even old enough to drink yet, y'all. Like in America, crypto ain't even 21 yet, guys. You know, crypto can't go clubbing in America yet, in
real.
bars that sell alcohol. So,
Man, that's a good point. It's a super good point.
you know, crypto hasn't even got married and had kids yet. Like, still
It's about to. It's about to.
about to graduate high school and is going to go to college. Tell you that much. Such a good analogy. So they're at this Bitcoin conference, I guess, when Jack Dorsey was speaking here at the African Bitcoin conference, and John Ungerlin mentioned, you know, integrating decentralized money like Bitcoin into banking operations, right? Well, I just want to show you guys that this is happening. So even though that there's people out there in certain maxi communities, like an XRP maxi, tell them to invest in Bitcoin, and holy shit, you have an argument for the year on X. But let's just think in terms of diversification and what the banks are doing for a second, and put your personal bias aside. These banks are buying Bitcoin, and they are going to utilize XRP. They've even started saying that, especially large organizations that are even listed on the NASDAQ, have come out saying that they're going to be accumulating XRP for yield generation purposes. We don't have to beat a dead horse. We've talked about that previously on these calls. But I'm just trying to show you guys that this is happening. So here in this post, I have 2 posts from Signum to show you that, number one, they're investing in Bitcoin and they're creating yield opportunities for their clients and themselves so they never have to sell these assets. So think about what they're doing right now with gold. They're pricing so many people out of gold, central banks, right? The average person right now, if you look at statistics from BlackRock, doesn't even have $1,000 in their savings for an emergency. So that means that even more of the population does not have money in their bank account right now in terms of cash value to go buy, in terms of purchasing power, 1 ounce of gold. They're pricing people out. They're going to price people out of these assets, y'all. That's what these people mean when they're saying you're going to get left behind. You might be able to buy some XRP in the future, or some Bitcoin in the future, or some Solana in the future, but it's going to be a little tiny sliver.
Yeah, it's going to take a while for it to be life changing. You're going to have to wait another 5-10 years for it to make a huge, difference.
So, diversify your portfolio, and again, not financial advice, into assets that you can utilize in the DeFi ecosystem to generate yield on, have a long-term perspective, zoom out, compound, and buckle up your seatbelts, because it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, 100%.
But here's the document right here, because I said this is 100% proof institutions aren't preparing to sell their crypto. They're preparing to earn yield on it. Swiss bank Signum just launched the Bitcoin Alpha Fund with Starboard Digital, targeting 8 to 10%. Mind you, that's double-digit yield, annual returns in Bitcoin. This release from October 2025 states that institutions want yield without selling their Bitcoin. Fund shares can even be used as collateral for loans, unlocking liquidity without touching holdings. Infrastructure like this proves the rails are being built for a future where crypto isn't dumped. It's used in DeFi and compounded, right? So let's just take a look at the document. This literally came out on the 1st of October, 2025. And so what I've noticed is all these banks like Citibank put out a report saying that they're going to be getting into crypto soon and unleashing crypto custody services for their clients and whatnot. We saw State Street put out a report in October. We see Swiss bank Signum putting out a report in October. Mind you, what happened? What happened in October? One of the biggest liquidations in crypto history. The market's down almost over $900 billion from the highs. Y'all, you thought these institutions were going to buy the pump? No, absolutely not.
They're smarter than that.
Fundamentals came, crashed the market, and watch. Now that everybody's fearful, even if the market were to go lower, I guarantee you that in the coming months, maybe a year, depending on how long the pain could last, right? Especially surrounding the fundamental environment. But eventually, we will see a risk-on sentiment flourish again, and 4.1 trillion is not where this market's going to stop. Not at all. So check this out. This says Signum Bank, a global digital asset banking group, announces the launch of Starboard Signum BTC Alpha Fund in collaboration with Starboard Digital and Starmark as an AIFM, with Signum providing regulated distribution and banking infrastructure. The fund addresses growing demand from investors seeking to generate yield on their Bitcoin holdings while maintaining full exposure to Bitcoin's price appreciation. The fund has already generated significant interest from professional investors seeking quality yield opportunities on their Bitcoin holdings. The fund targets 8 to 10% annual returns, not of fees, paid in Bitcoin, allowing investors to grow their number of Bitcoins over time. Then here it mentions specifically, highlighted in green, generating yield on Bitcoin without having to sell their positions, right? And this is coming directly from a bank, not some retail influencer on the internet saying, hey guys, you probably shouldn't be selling your crypto, should be focused on accumulating yield, stacking.
Bro, Bitcoin is going so much more higher. Eventually, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I only have a little bit of Bitcoin. Definitely not the biggest asset in my portfolio by any means, but I think that if Bitcoin performs well, eventually it'll spill into altcoins and everybody goes home happy, you know?
I'm just curious, will it spill out really because of that yield opportunity as well? You know what I mean? It's almost going to lock it in on chain type of thing. So
Yeah, man. I mean, I know that we're going to exist in a multi-chain ecosystem, and a lot of people think that Bitcoin's going away. Maybe it's not the top number one anymore in the future, but I don't think it's going away. It's
yeah,
always going to be a tradable asset, in my personal opinion.
yeah.
So then later on, they solidified this and they put this report out. This is talking about this Lombard loan, right? And they put this out 1 day ago, literally, because I posted this yesterday, and you can see right here on their LinkedIn, says it's from a day ago. So it says, join Signum Bank at Lugano's Plan B Forum or Plan Bitcoin Forum, 24th of 25th of October, and check out Signum's Proof of Work Bench Live. Pump your Bitcoin with us at Villa Siana in the first floor room. So it's given like a little thing, and it's literally advertising. Pump, like, look at this. Check this out. I found this funny. It's advertising to pump your Bitcoin, as in like, don't sell it, get your Bitcoin to work. It's a little like, look, it's got like a little bench, like pump your Bitcoin, like fucking, you know, like it says bank grade custody and white glove relationship management to lend out your crypto, earn yield on it, and grow your bags. And so I'm showing you this because banks are literally advertising DeFi right now, y'all.
That's crazy dope, bro. That's crazy dope. I love it. I
Like,
love it, bro. Because we talked about this too, that we were going to start seeing more advertisement for DeFi strategies.
From banks, bro.
From
And
banks.
this literally proves and debunks everybody that's right now. Because there's still this group of people in crypto that are like, oh, lending isn't real. Where's the yield come from? It's going to all fall. It's going to go bye-bye. Like, it's not all that stuff. That is such an outdated perspective. I'm showing you guys this because those people that lack education and still think that DeFi is not regulated, they're not keeping up with the current environment, because it is. It might not be in your jurisdiction, but in Switzerland it is. In Switzerland right now, regulated banks are throwing up freaking DeFi advertisements for banks to come get their crypto working for them. You know, and there's still people out there that have been involved in crypto for like 6+ years that still don't even know how to put their digital assets to work.
It's kind of scary, to be honest with you.
It is.
I wish those people well, but yeah, I feel like a majority of that mindset is going to be the ones that like take profits at whatever price point they plan to exit. And then like a lot of the really smart individuals in the space keep saying it's going to be impossible to catch up. So
yeah, a lot of people that think that they're traders and they ruin an investment opportunity.
Yeah.
You know?
Yo, so Brad, you about to show the Brad post right now.
Yeah, I want to read this because, you know, there's always just that tickle in the back of people's minds because of the skepticism on the internet that floats around, and people are always like, oh, Ripple's doing all this with all these stable coins and they're doing all these other partnerships, and they never mention XRP, and XRP is not going to be used. No. If you've been paying attention to the announcements from this year alone on how many organizations publicly, announced in 2025 that they're going to be accumulating XRP for their treasury strategy to generate yield. So it's not just Bitcoin. It's not just freaking banks buying Bitcoin to generate yield and never sell. It's XRP too. It's Solana, it's Ethereum, it's a lot of these altcoins that have the ability for yield generation. And now XRP, with all its new capabilities that were recently introduced within the last year, it's going to be involved in DeFi as well, right?
100% it is. We just gotta see the compliant protocols coming through with.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, I 110%. There's still a lot of risks involved. There's still a lot of, still a lot of shaky ground and probably weak end infrastructure. I'm not denying that by any means, but we can say 110% that there is proof out there that large organizations that are regulated have announced that they're going to be generating and accumulating XRP.
Yeah, no, that's a fact, bro. That's a super fact. That's not an opinion or something made up. That's a straight fact.
So Brad said today, with today's close of Hidden Road, now Ripple Prime, so they changed the name. Ripple has announced 5 major acquisitions in 2 years. G Treasury last week, Rail in August, Standard Custody in 2024, Medico in 2023. As we continue to build solutions towards enabling an internet of value, I'm reminding you all that XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does. Lock in. So, yeah, that made me feel good today. I'm not going to lie. That made me feel good today. There's little tiny gems like that, considering what was just announced. And you can go find this, mind you. I think this is crazy, bro, that you can go find this document on the SEC.gov archives.
Really?
Yeah, so this doc is from the SEC.gov archives, and it's an entire document from Evernorth. And just like I mentioned, organizations are now announcing and launching, XRP yield generation treasury so they can freaking earn yield on their XRP. That's exactly what this document is about. Evernorth Holdings, or the company, is a purpose-built vehicle for investment into XRP through public equity markets. Provides unprecedented pure play access to XRP for institutional investors through a scalable, liquid, and regulated vehicle. Evernorth will become a publicly listed company via a business combination with Armada Acquisition Corp., the only scaled public company providing pure play XRP exposure in the market. And it says, fixed supply and digital asset built for real-world utility. All XRP in existence today and no new tokens can be created. That's pent-up demand when you're generating yield on your XRP, and then everybody's generating freaking yield, and then banks are generating yield on their XRP. People talk about supply shocks all the time, and I'm an advocate for supply shocks, but all these like freaking supply shock scenarios that people talk about on the internet, I think that that's all bullshit. I think the supply shock is going to come when these banks start generating yield on their XRP.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So hold on though, too. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. They changed their name. They added a prime to it now. It's Ripple Prime.
Well, Ripple Prime now, apparently.
When did that happen? Did we just learn that today in the post, or has that been?
I'm assuming so, because I watched the panel discussion of the I don't remember the dude's name. He's the CEO, I believe, in Singapore, Hidden Road. Talk on stage just the other day, and his title still said Hidden Road, and that was literally from like a week ago. So maybe this was just announced that they changed the name.
Okay.
But bro, so check this out. What I find crazy about this document, again, mind you, it's literally in the SEC archives, is it's talking about generating yield. It's like literally an overview of yield generation, how they're going to use XRP as a treasury asset and generate yield. And look at what it says. It says Evernorth right here. Price tracking, yield generation, diversified yield generation that will provide additional income generating opportunities with XRP. Let me zoom in for you guys. Right. So it's literally telling you spot XRP ETPs, no yield. XRP trusts, no yield. Direct purchases, no yield. But with Evernorth, diversified yield opportunities and institutional grade custody providers, potential tax benefits, right? Why? Hello, this is what the freaking rich have been doing. When they accumulate assets, they don't freaking sell them because you get taxed when you do that. You lend out your assets, you take a loan out against them, and loans are not taxable. You're muted, bro.
And Evernorth is the front man educating their people about how to do just what you just said.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, this is a crazy awakening. There's going to be a lot of people that get caught with their pants down, especially with assets like XRP, where they think it's going to stop at some price, turn around, retest another price, give them an opportunity to enter back in. I would not want to be playing that risk.
Can we get an Evernorth, or is this just like?
I think for now, I think for now it's only available for TradFi. I'm not too entirely sure. Excuse me for being ignorant on that. But I'm pretty sure it's only available for TradFi for institutional purposes for now.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it, but we'll see retail, options like this coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, there's retail options now. Like even just look, like more markets in collaboration with Flare Network this past week. This is from October 17th. Launched an XRP card, right, where you can self-custody and earn APY on your XRP. I'm not saying, obviously, of course, that this is like the one all, no all, be all, and just go out there and start using this, but I'm just throwing retail examples on how yield generation on XRP is going to become the new normal. Just like on pretty much any digital asset that's going to survive long-term, it's going to need yield capabilities for these institutions to hold it. Why? Because these volatile crypto assets are exactly that, inherently volatile. And so these institutions are going to need a way to hedge against the volatility in these assets. And that comes in the form of yield generation and compounding over time. So, but yeah, this was announced this past week too, which I thought was pretty cool. I might actually apply for this and whatnot, just to, again, have a diversification exposure to just yield generation. And I have a lot of XRP, so it says More Markets is pleased to announce the launch of the XRP Flare account, the latest addition to our suite of XRP focused accounts developed on Flare Network. This account provides a seamless vault experience designed to unlock the potential of Flare XRP-Fi ecosystem for XRP holders. Our core focus is simplicity and security. The XRP Flare account is a self-custodial, transparent solution where users maintain full custody of their assets, and all strategies are executed 100% within the Flare ecosystem. Funds remain on Flare Network and are never bridged off-chain or used in centralized venues. So, long story short, again, more yield exposure. It says the yield generation. It talks about where the source of the yield comes from. I'm not going to read all that and bore you guys to death, but I found this article to just be very informational and cool. Because at the end of the day, it just shows more availability for us to put our digital assets to work, right?
100.
So, but yeah, I mentioned to you today, bro, that XDC had a stablecoin announcement that was similar to the Metallicus announcement from, what was it, August or September? And this is it. So I'm going to read this and definitely want your opinion on it. So it says here, Layer 1 blockchain XDC Network's venture arm said on Wednesday, this is, mind you, this past week from October 22nd, it had acquired Contour Network, a digital platform designed for banks to streamline trade finance with blockchain rails. Contour was originally backed by major banks like HSBC, Citi, and Standard Chartered, but struggled to scale and was shuttered in late 2023. Under XDC's new ownership, it will be restructured with fresh capital injections, a revamped strategy, and a focus on integrating stablecoins into real-world trade processes, XDC said in a press conference. The acquisition comes as global banks and financial institutions ramp up efforts to use blockchain rails for real-world assets and tokenization and stablecoin settlements. The process could save billions of dollars annually in trade finance alone by automating processes with smart contracts and programmable digital payments on blockchains. XDC Network, an Ethereum-compatible Layer 1 with 2-second settlement time and ISO 222 messaging support, is positioning itself as a hub for real-world asset tokenization. Its partnership includes Circle, Deutsche Telekom, MMN, and Securitize, and the network has integrated frameworks like MLETR and R3/4 to support cross-border finance. Then down here it says, check this out. With this acquisition, XDC Ventures also unveiled a stablecoin lab to run pilot programs aimed at banks and corporates. These pilots will test how regulated stablecoins such as Circle's USDC can be used to settle trade transactions on a blockchain more efficiently than traditional rails.
Yeah, I want to learn more about that. Because that definitely kind of sounds. I'm kind of curious, like how it works and how they're setting it all up for sure.
Now, what I think is definitely different, what I don't see is that XDC doesn't seem to give the banks the ability to launch their own stablecoin. It just gives them the ability to operate in this pilot program where they can test regulated stablecoins. So it doesn't seem like XDC is providing the technology layer for these banks to go and create their own regulatory compliant stablecoin, but it does look like XDC is giving an environment pilot program where they can come most likely on the XDC network or something and run regulated stablecoin transactions to test.
Interesting. So this is a pilot that just got launched. Then that's just launched like this week, like recently.
Yeah, recently.
Right?
Yeah, this is from October 22nd.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm definitely not mad at it. I would love to learn more exactly how it works. But yeah, sounds interesting for sure.
This is another one XDC related. It says the XDC network announces the launch of XDC Surge, a $10 million strategic incentive program designed to rapidly grow DeFi activity and deepen liquidity across the ecosystem. The initiative targets liquidity providers on leading decentralized exchanges, i.e. DEXs, and marks the network's transition from infrastructure development to large-scale adoption. Through Surge, participants will receive rewards in XDC or liquid stake XDC or LST XDC tokens for adding liquidity to key DeFi platforms integrated with the network. All incentives will be tracked transparently in real time via the XDC Engagement Hub, which they also launched recently, powered by Merkle.xyz APIs for automated and audible distribution. So I found this one interesting because it's literally a $10 million strategic incentive from the XDC network to pretty much expand DeFi. So think about all the people that have been accumulating XDC for all these years because it's an ISO 222 compliant token and it falls in the narrative between XDC, XLM, and XRP. And they still don't know that an environment is being created for us to be able to generate yield on our XDC and never have to sell it.
Never have to sell it.
So
That's yeah. XSwap too. Remember when XSwap, when we first launched Well 28 Club, they had some farming pools that were active at that time, but they've been expired for quite some time. But this is it's interesting. It seems like some money's going to start coming, and we'll probably start seeing some new farming pools on the XSwap protocol.
Another thing that I wanted to touch on was at this Payments Innovation Conference from October 21, 2025, you have industry-leading experts from Jito, from Chainlink. This lady, I believe, stems from BNY Mellon, or Leeds Bank, one of the two. This gentleman is from Fireblocks, and this lady might be the one from BNY Mellon. Long story short, these are all pretty high-end people in the space. This gentleman is from Fireblocks, right? Large-scale institutional-grade custody provider, Chainlink, operating with Swift, so on and so forth. But in this room, this is the Payments Innovation Conference that the Federal Reserve posted. A couple of different things are said that, one, I want to play and then see your reaction on. But two, it just confirms what me and Aqua have been telling you guys, that we're going to start to see banks talk about this, and then this ideology behind double-digit yield and this concern that that's not going to be a real thing that lasts. Well, Sergey Nazarov here goes on to, in front of all these central bankers, in front of all these regulators that they're talking in front of, mentioned that we're headed into a future where you're going to be able to earn 10 to 15% yield on digital assets. So this to me is mad confirmation on what we've been showing to people in the Well 28 Club, what is capable now in the moment and what will continue to be capable moving forward in this new financial system. So first, let's listen to this one. It's about 1 minute and 27 seconds. They talk about how wallets will be the first use case for banks and how in the next year or two, stablecoins, just let's break this down, digest this, check this out.
Gold standard for holding reserves and managing the crypto industry. And so you probably have 2 of like 10, I would say. Having said that, there's a bunch of things that banks have to deal with that I think are probably the most likely use cases to hit banks at first. One is wallets, and that's consumer-related wallets. The second is infrastructure. I think on the infrastructure side, you're seeing that evolve today. and that's infrastructure of dealing with bin sponsorship, moving money, storing money, and kind of the overall management of on-ramps and off-ramps. And I think that infrastructure has actually been established by players and operates quite well within the system today. I know we work with over 150 plus crypto companies, hundreds of accounts, tens of billions of dollars of money that flows through on a fairly regular basis. That happens very fluidly following all the KYC rules that are required and all of the institutional knowledge that we've had for 90 years of developing a banking system in the United States around like core banking law. So that exists today. On the consumer wallet side, I'd say that's probably the least sophisticated and I don't actually see like a use case today for like stable coins and consumer wallets. No one is sitting there going, I'm going to use my $25 worth of stable coin at Starbucks. Like that kind of, it's a nice theory, but I don't actually see any transaction volume that's happening on the consumer side. Where you're going to see it, though, is institutions that have moved their infrastructure. And over time, it'll become more prevalent as banks adopt stablecoin wallets, most likely through their core providers like Fiserv, Jack Henry, and FIS, who will enable it so that you could have interoperability between crypto companies, fintech companies, and core financial.
Bro.
Well, yeah, Fiserv,
Bro. Jack Henry, Temenos, all of Metallicus's partnerships.
she's literally talking about how wallets are going to be the use case that banks flock to because of the customer, right? The consumer experience. She's talking about how that's pretty crap right now from a banking infrastructure perspective, and how these digital wallets are going to be the use case that revamps all that. And what technology does Metallicus provide, bro?
Yeah, all of that shit, the infrastructure and the wallet, like the two things that she said, like infrastructure's already built. It's all open source. Like it's ready to go. It's ready to be plugged in. Not to mention they've been running their banking innovation pilot program for over 2 years now.
So on top of that, this makes me, because she was talking about how this is going to be the first use case for banks. I'm glad that I got that reaction out of you, as I knew that was going to click for you when she said Fiserv and Jack Henry. But this goes hand in hand with something that Sandy Cole had said from about a month ago, where she said, well, these new digital wallets in the future and all of this yield and all this stuff is going to be mandatory. It's going to be mandatory.
And when are we going to see the next catalyst? So you talked about the Genius Act being a big catalyst this year and recently. What's the next coming catalyst?
Yeah, well, this filing by NASDAQ to get approval to trade tokenized equities on the NASDAQ exchange, right? You know, you also had Coinbase go in recently. They announced to the SEC to ask for permission to trade tokenized stock, right? This is going to be a catalyst that makes the Genius Act and the ability to trade stablecoins look minimal by comparison, right? That is, to me, you know, once there are rules in place that are going to allow us to begin moving our traditional financial products onto these new rails with confidence, I think that is when you're going to just start to feel this whole pace of acceleration, this whole pace of change accelerate. And, you know, when I say you're going to see more change in the next 5 years than in the past 50, this is why, right? That legislation, that permission to start to tokenize our real world assets and use blockchain to administer them, that's probably coming within the next few months, right? At most another 18 months, right? And once that happens, it's going to become mandatory that you have a wallet to be able to handle these assets. It's going to become mandatory that you have payment methods that work on chain to be able to settle assets immediately, right? It changes the playing field.
Bro, I forgot that she had said in a few months, and that timeline goes hand in hand with what Marshall Hayner had said as well. 6 months to a year, but sometimes my predictions can get cut by a quarter.
Yeah, this guy too, Thinking Crypto, he had a really great podcast the other day. I rarely watch like other influencer content on YouTube, but this was shared in the Discord the other day, and so I gave it a watch. And it's this guy from, I believe, Crossover Markets, and he has a very massive log of valid credentials working for traditional finance. This gentleman here, but this goes hand in hand with what Sandy Cole just said. Because just listen to what he says. Shout out to Thinking Crypto for this podcast interview, by the way. Here, check this out.
Curious what happens after the market structure bill gets passed. I would love to get your thoughts, what that means for these institutions getting in, what it means for your business. Does it open up more opportunities? Are there things that you're holding back on until that clarity is in the market?
I mean, yes. I think the big thing though is the thing with the market structure bill is it changes the game overnight because it gives a regulatory path for existing institutions to come in and understand exactly what they're getting involved in and which regulator they're getting involved with. I think what we'll see with market structure bill is before it's even passed, with most of these bills, we saw it with the stablecoin. With most of these bills, you start to realize there's chatter and we understand the bill is getting passed before it gets passed, maybe days to a week or 2 weeks. I think the second there's chatter that this bill is going to finally get passed, you're going to see M&A skyrocket. I think you're going to see traditional players on Wall Street, exchanges as one example, banks as another example, among others, buy their way into the space very, very quickly. And so I think that's the first thing people are going to see. I think related to that, you're going to see a lot of more partnerships and a lot of big announcements related to that, because it just so at that point, the path is very clear. It's very easy for folks at serious institutions to get approvals with their committees now that they have a very clear and concise regulatory framework to play with. And the market structure bill that was passed by the House is very clear. And they've done it.
So he literally said once that market structure bill gets passed, institutions are going to buy their way into this space very quickly. And so that's why I think a lot of these people that we keep playing with valid credentials, they keep saying, look, 6 to 18 months max.
Yeah.
Like in that window from 6 months to 18 months, because who knows, which I think is a really great, outlook perspective. That's a good window over there. That's what, a year and a half away. That's not that much time. I don't think that it's going to take that much time, but I mean, still, even if it did take another year and a half for things to really just like hit the rocket boosters, man, it's not that long.
It's not. And we've seen how fast the Genius Act got passed too.
They're trying to get the market structure bill out this year. I'm reading so many split decisions on whether it's going to get passed, whether it's not. There's still some trials and tribulations. If they were to get it off the ground this year I heard Cynthia Lumens at the, I don't remember what conference. I think it was the SALT conference. She said that they're trying to get it on the president's desk and have it signed into fruition before Thanksgiving, which is in a month.
Yeah, I see it here on the congress.gov website. It's the tracker is saying it's introduced. And I remember pulling up the Genius Act and watching it kind of like, back in the days when you order a pizza from like Domino's or whatever, you see it on the tracker. That's what this website does. And I've seen the Genius Act go quick. So who knows when it's going to get passed, but I could see it happening that quickly because that's how fast the Genius Act moved.
My projection is 6 to 8 months after that bill gets passed is when we'll see the floodgates fucking open, because I think that once it happens, everybody's going to be expecting the institutions to just jump in. I think that there might be a couple that start to dip their toes in and they're going to just play. And once one institution does, they'll start dominoing, freaking coming in,
Man, unless they're salivating right now, you know what I'm saying?
Unless they're brewing now. But bottom line is, man, like we're running out of so many people, I go out in public. I went to the Formula One races the other day.
Yeah.
And the only ones in America. And I was there and I'm walking around and I'm just like, I can't help but notice that everybody is just like zombied out, bro.
Man, you are not capping, bro. How was the Formula One though? Was that shit dope?
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good experience. Expensive, but a good experience nonetheless. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I can't complain. I mean, honestly, I'm not like a materialistic dude, so not really my forte. I don't think I'll ever go again, but you know, I'll say this. I'm not the type of dude, you know, like in amusement parks, like a lot of people are like, I freaking love amusement parks. I don't go to amusement parks because I hate waiting in line for like a 10-second rush, you know?
Yeah, that's real.
I felt like Formula One was that. I feel like I woke up early, and I'm not complaining by any means. I'm blessed that I had the finances to go and to do something like that, and then I was able to experience something like that. I need that to be known because this is going to sound like I'm complaining.
Yeah.
But since you asked, I'm just explaining why stuff like that doesn't really like. I'm not there in my life to care about shit like that because I waited more of my day than the experience that Formula One gave me. Like I woke up early, took 2 hours to even get to the venue because of the traffic, then waiting in line to just get in. Even though I had bought the VIP access, it was still freaking like even the VIP access was long as shit.
Damn.
Like it was just, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's not me, you know. I'm like, I could have done
Absolutely.
something so much more productive with my time and money.
Yeah.
So that's just me, I guess.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I would have got a kick out of those cars moving that fast though. And
It was
shit.
cool. It was definitely cool to see a couple of different races. Like they opened with like letting track people come and drive their cars, and there was like some decked out McLarens and Lamborghinis and all stuff doing little races. Then they kicked off with the sprint, which was cool seeing the Formula One cars, and then they finished off with the Porsche race. Like my seats were like front, like right there, bro. It was cool.
That's dope, bro. That's
Yeah, it
super
was
dope.
dope.
Yeah.
So it was a good experience nonetheless, but I wouldn't personally do it again.
Yeah, no, I feel you, bro. I feel like I went to drag races because I'm next to Pomona, so I've been to the drag races over here at the Pomona Raceway, and I got a kick out of it for like the first 10 minutes because you can like feel the wave of the cars like moving past so fast. But then afterwards, I was like, man, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it was just cool to be around that many people and just realize like I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the right thing with my life. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm just, you know,
Bigger and better places to come, bro. Trust. It's coming.
All right, because we're almost at an hour now, bro, and I only got a couple more videos, so let's wrap this up. But I don't remember who says it here. We'll see here in just a second. But a note that I wrote down was that they mentioned in front of all these central bankers, all these bankers, all these financiers, freaking regulators at this conference that the Federal Reserve hosted. Mind you, last week on the live, we played me and Aqua, showed you guys that Fed Christopher Waller openly said, like, crypto is being woven into the financial infrastructure, so you should pay attention. Remember that last week? So here they go on to say all banks are asking for this technology. And I highlighted that because that to me is like key confirmation. Hello, we shouldn't be paying attention to these pullbacks as fear-induced events. No, we should be looking at them as opportunistic events to get in at discounted prices, not financial advice.
We used one of the blockchain analytics companies to do an analysis of the smart contract pool of all the assets that were in the pool and to see what the a connection was to any wallets that were associated with illicit finance. It was very, very low. And so we were able to sort of put that out there. And I just went back to the same blockchain analytics company maybe a month ago to ask about it. And the guy that I know there very well said, you know, you were the only people to ask for something like this 5 years ago. And now all we get is banks asking for the same type of analyses. So, you know, everything old is new again. And, you know, Ave Arc was a bit before its time. But
she's talking about data that chain analysis provides in the digital asset space and how 5 years ago, the gentleman that provides their organization, mind you, she's, I believe, one of the biggest protocol providers on Solana, Jitto, Sol, or whatever it is. I don't Jitto Labs. Now, fast forward 5 years, all the banks, she says, are asking for this data, are asking for chain analytics on the crypto digital asset ecosystem. That's massive.
That's super massive, bro. Super massive. Damn.
Last thing I'll play here is Sergey going on to literally openly state, you know, it's going to be super exciting when you can earn double-digit yields, pretty much in a nutshell, on your US dollars. Take a second and listen.
That are able to interact with all this regulated capital. That's called regulated DeFi. Seems to be that what we're discussing here, which is kind of amazing. You know, a year ago, I wouldn't have imagined. If you told me a year ago you're going to be at the Fed discussing regulated DeFi, I'd be right, Michael? It's a crazy idea, isn't it?
No, I remember what we discussed 2 years ago, a year ago, yeah.
A year ago, right? 2 years ago, maybe, who knows? But sorry, it's just it's a good thing. It's my way of saying it's a good thing. Thank you. So you have to get all three of those things to work. You have to get all three of them to happen, and then it'll all be lots of fun and a blast. And DeFi gets you 8% to 15% on the US dollar. So I can almost guarantee you that when you open the floodgates for people to get that type of yield on the US dollar in a compliant, regulated way.
Like, yeah.
And they're at the Fed, he said.
Yeah. Like they're at the fucking Fed, bro.
And what's crazy is I wonder if Marshall's ever spoke at one of these events just without the video cameras there.
I don't know, man. That's something to speculate on. But at the end of the day, regardless, bottom line is, y'all, they are talking about DeFi in the Federal Reserve building, and there's publicly available information of it. And people are still saying DeFi is a scam.
Yeah, they got Metallicus is on the federal government's website as well, bro, as a service provider, along with Temenos, Jack Henry, Fiserv.
All the organizations that lady just mentioned that they're going to be, you know,
literally on the same stage.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence, man. I truly believe that the research that we do here, we're on to something. I think that the people that are paying attention, they're locked in. They understand the long-term potential of the digital asset ecosystem. They're not trying to be traders and time the market, and they're just trying to, you know, be investors while at the same time generating yield, preserving capital, and mitigating risk. They're going to be the ones that survive long-term. And we can clearly see a transition in attitudes from big organizations with the same mindset, bro. When was the last time you saw an organization release an announcement that say, we're going to buy a big ass ton of Bitcoin and XRP, and then we're going to sell it for a certain price?
Yeah.
You don't. But what have you seen? You see all these announcements of yield generation products, ETFs, staking, all this stuff. Why? Because these banks, they know the future of finance is digital. Freaking the IMF literally said it the other day. She said, don't close your eyes to the future of finance because the future of fiat is digital. Right?
That's straight facts. Straight facts, bro.
So again, I encourage you guys, if you don't know what DeFi is, you don't know how to get your digital assets working for you, tap in with us in the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club, learn, watch us expose our hard-earned crypto and thousands of dollars to the DeFi ecosystem so you can learn from our mistakes and our trials and tribulations. So that way you at least are aware of what's happening. If you guys want to do that, head over to CYPRXtrading.com. That's really all that I had for you guys today, outside of a couple of different sprinkled fundamentals, but I'm not going to bore you guys to death. That was a good breakdown.
Yeah, super great breakdown. That's a great find, bro. Dang, that's wild. There's a lot of coincidences with this that are pointing at Metallicus, though, completely. Even though Metallicus is not being said in this meeting, there's, you know, nobody from Metallicus is on that stage, but they did say, that lady especially, and then regulated DeFi 2 come out of Sergey. I mean, you know, Metallicus is technically BSA compliant right now. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think ending it there with the fact that they're at the Fed saying the terminology regulated DeFi is a big green light. Big green light. Obviously, of course, manage your risk properly, understand your own personal risk exposure, but a huge green light for the DeFi ecosystem and yield generation on our digital assets. Blessings to you guys. That's all I got, man. Aqua, I'll see you next Friday, bro.
Yeah, much love, everybody. See you next Friday.